these teams have a lot of patience offensively at the plate, really challenge a pitcher to come more on. And especially for a freshman in Cam Harrison, who throws a beautiful curveball right at the knees to get herself right back into the count. It's going to put a lot of pressure on her to find the strike zone. And as a pitcher against Oklahoma's offense, you just feel like you have to be so perfect.
Caught a piece of Dayton, and she'll head up to first base. So the leadoff runner is aboard for the Sooners against Cam Harrison.
And Cam Harrison is going to rely a lot on her curveball and her rise ball. She'll mix those two pitches, can throw that rise ball at different levels. Will also mix in a changeup. If you're going to approach her, if she's more upspin or downspin or more up in the zone or down, she's definitely more up in the zone. Going to have to be careful with Oklahoma's power.
Well, certainly Nellie McEnroe-Marinas has some power. The redshirt freshman from Hawaii, already 5 home runs this year, and has hit extra bases twice already in the series, including a home run yesterday in Game 2.
Well, and this is a big swing, too, because it set the tone for Oklahoma for the entire day. Early in the first inning, got them on the board. That 1-0 lead that she gave them held for the entire game until the 7th inning. But the redshirt freshman, one of the captains on this Oklahoma team.
Career, remember, redshirted last year. Now Oklahoma switching over from the Big 12 and has been a huge help in Oklahoma's effort to start undefeated in SEC play. Takes the 2-0, deep left field. Back on it is Kramer and makes the catch at the track with the wind drifting in a little bit from left field.
From our perspective, I thought that was going to go a little bit further than that. Leave it to Reagan Kramer to have a lot of time to track it down on the warning track, but I think she got a little jammed on that hitter's count, that 2-0 count. Huge out for the freshman.
So one away for Ella Parker, who has started the year as one of the top hitters in the country. Those numbers haven't quite bared out in this series. 0 for 6. But was hitting above 500 before the weekend here in Fayetteville.
Yeah, that's rare. I was actually, filling out my scorecard, and I put what they did for each of the first 2 games in a little box next to their name, and I wrote down 0 for 3, 0 for 3, and it just didn't feel right next to Ella Parker's name. She is not the type of hitter that stays quiet for too long.
Well, with Abigail Dayton over at first base, you got to be careful. Already 10 stolen bases in 11 tries this year. And the way Patty Gasso goes all gas, no brakes offensively. Anything is possible with somebody on for the Sooners. There goes Dayton, and the throw down is off the line by Kennedy Miller. And the Sooners with a runner in scoring position here in the top of the first.
I think Courtney Deifel might challenge this, and in fact she's going to our home plate umpire Alex Leap. I thought the tag got there before her hand got to the bag right there. Oh yeah, she's out.
Arkansas is challenging the play at second base. The call in the field is safe. This play is under further review.
That should be a pretty quick one in my opinion. But the all gas no brakes thing, is that a pun with Gasso? Had you thought about that one?
After review, the call in the field is changed. The runner is out. This is Arkansas's first challenge.
It's a huge out. Kennedy Miller stepping up, helping out her freshman pitcher. That was a great tag by Riho, the shortstop.
Wipes the go-ahead run off the board. And now Parker at the plate with 2 outs in a 3-1 count. Upstairs for a walk. Now, Cam Harrison's last 2 outings have been crisp. 3 2/3, 2 strikeouts, no earned runs, including going 2/3 of an inning yesterday during the doubleheader. Struck out 2 Sooners in her brief appearance out of the pen. But how big would it be for the freshman in her first SEC career start against Oklahoma, no less, to get out of the first inning unscathed.
And I would give anybody confidence, but especially a freshman going up against this lineup. And Coach Teifel, who is the head coach, also the pitching coach on this Arkansas staff, going to go out and talk to Cam Harrison about finding the strike zone and really just trusting her stuff. I guarantee that's the biggest message right there from her pitching coach and Coach Teifel. Trust your stuff. You have to go at them and let your defense make plays. Both Arkansas and Oklahoma have two of the best defenses in the country. So Arkansas, probably one of the best defenses Courtney Teifel said that she's ever had since she's taken over this program. So trust your defense, challenge these hitters.
Entered the weekend top 5 in the country in fielding percentage. Here is the 1-0 to Cassidy Pickering. Pickering, a preseason All-SEC sophomore from Humboldt, Texas.
Just missing high with that rise ball and curve ball both. And you ride a fine line, too, when you're a pitcher who lives up in the zone and you're struggling with your control. When you are a pitcher who is more up, that tends to be the pitch that gets elevated for a home run out of the ballpark.
Strike 1 to Pickering. Go ahead run at first base with 2 down here in the top of the first at Bogle Park. Arkansas trying to hand Oklahoma its first loss of the season. And I believe there was a pitch clock violation there. Indeed there was. And so because of the illegal pitch, the result, ball 4, and now 2 on and 2 down for Sydney Sanders.
We saw a few of those yesterday, too. A timing violation. Probably more in the past couple of games than I've seen in a while.
All 3 runners to reach in this inning for Oklahoma have either been by hit by pitch or a walk. So after there were nobody on and 2 down, after the runner caught stealing at second base, back-to-back walks issued by Harrison, and now the senior Sanders, with some pop in her bat, has a chance to open up the scoring for the Sooners. Well,
Oklahoma's offense notoriously in the past few years is so good at capitalizing on free passes. In game 1, yesterday, the doubleheader, they walked 8 times, 5 in game 2, so 13 walks in 2 games yesterday. Capitalized on a lot of those. And that's why Courtney Teifel is going out there and telling her freshmen, hey, trust your stuff. Throw strikes right here because it's good enough to get swings and misses like that.
2-2 from Harrison. And a full count now to Sanders. And she goes down swinging, a big-time strikeout by the freshman Cam Harrison to get out of the 2-out, 2-on jam. Well, starting in the circle for game 3 for Oklahoma is the Campbell transfer, Isabella Smith, one of 3 newcomers in the regular pitching rotation for the Sooners this year.
Yeah, excited to see what Smith has today. She'll rely heavily on a rise ball, big pickup in the transfer portal in the circle like Oklahoma tends to get year in and year out. A couple of times she's gotten conference pitcher of the year at Campbell before coming over here.
We'll take on an Arkansas lineup that is hoping to get more of what they had in game 2 yesterday. A lot more active at the plate, doing a better job of driving in runners on base after they were blanked in game 1, 7-zip. And of course, you can't talk Arkansas offense without Bree Ellis, the best home run hitter in the history of the program after transferring in. Leads all Division I players with 61 career homers.
I think she knew we were talking about her and decided to hide behind some teammates there. But 5 on the infield for Arkansas. This is how they've played, for Oklahoma against Reagan Johnson. This is how they've played her all weekend. Trying to pinch in the infield, anticipating her to put the ball on the ground. They want to give themselves another infielder to make a play, ready for a ball on the ground and a quick play to one with her speed.
They have pitched her so well in this series. One of the toughest in the country to strike out. As she bounces it to short, and a quick throw over to first is in time.
That way, so there are 3 all the way on the left side of the infield, anticipating a ball like that to be able to get her out like that.
So you score at 4-3, even though it was hit to the shortstop position.
And you know what? Just without even thinking about it, I put 6-3. So thank you. But I'm going to do a little asterisk next to that one.
One down now, bases empty for Reagan Kramer. You know, we talked so much about the newcomers for Oklahoma, rightfully so, replacing 14 players. But Arkansas is in a similar boat, right? They brought in 11 new players this year from the team that reached the regional last year with a national seed. And were upset here at home. So there's some hunger for this Arkansas team with that core contingent that returns from last year. Courtney Deifel's group losing in the regional round in back-to-back years.
And they graduated some big names too, with Ryland Hedgecock and Kylie Halverson and Hannah Gamble. Big home run hitters that graduated, and again giving them a different looking lineup this year.
Kramer takes a strike.
One mainstay, though, has been Reagan Kramer.
Yes.
And you can put her in a lot of different places in the order. Hitting in the 2-hole today, but had been hitting behind Bree Ellis, Courtney Day, and then Reagan Kramer. Courtney Deifel shuffling up the lineup.
Draws a walk with one down.
Isabella Smith is going to be similar to Camet Harrison in the fact that she's going to be more of an upspin pitcher, rely on her rise ball. That's her highest percentage use pitch, has a good changeup, but really an array of pitches that she'll work in, but throwing that rise ball the most so far this year at about a 42% clip. Drop ball just behind that at 24%.
Wyckoff punches this into left field, and it drops for a base hit. The first of the game for either team, but now 2 on. The first of 2 Bash sisters batting in the middle of the lineup for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and the numbers bear out. She is one of the best in the business, not only this year, but in her career. And can change the dynamic of the game with one swing of the bat. Down in the count 0-2 to Smith.
Had a quiet game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. Struck out a couple of times and then rebounded in game 2 of the doubleheader with a couple of hits. Oklahoma has been going right at her. Smith getting ahead.
Ellis coming into the weekend tied with Taylor Shoemaker at Florida with 13 home runs to lead the nation. And then her teammate right behind her, Courtney Day, with 8 bombs coming into the year. 1-2.
That's a great take.
This first inning. Ellis lifts this down the line and left and playable, giving chase Dayton, and 2 down.
Ball does not seem to be traveling very well out to left field. Got a little jammed on that, so I understand why, but just something to keep an eye on.
It's also 45 degrees.
Does that slow the ball
morning.
down? I need to. Michelle Smith on line 1. I need to know. She'll know all the science behind it.
You would know better than I as Courtney Day digs in. First pitch swinging, flares it out of play and foul. If I'm at the plate, gripping a bat in 45-degree weather with the wind whipping around, I don't know if I'm getting that barrel around as quickly.
Oh, you've been really worried about this cold since we left the hotel
My
this
left
morning.
foot is numb, Scarborough. It is a beautiful day here, though, in Fayetteville. Sun is shining, and the cold weather did not keep the Razorback faithful home today. Outfield grass was full over an hour before first pitch as the 1-1 is crushed to left field. This could go. Yes, sir! 3-run shot for Courtney Day.
Her opportunity and puts Arkansas on the board first.
Well, this is similar to game 2 yesterday, in which Arkansas jumped out to an early lead, scoring 2 in the bottom of the third. Of course, Oklahoma countered, and the two teams traded runs late before Oklahoma ultimately pushed ahead. But this is the type of response, frankly, Amanda, that we saw from Arkansas last week in their series loss to Ole Miss. Dropped the first 2 games, and then the offense came out and looked totally different in game 3 against the Rebels.
Yeah, it's just so much I'm thinking about, and I want to say that rebound from Arkansas last weekend on the road at Ole Miss was huge for their confidence after dropping the first 2, but because they experienced that, even though it's a different team and they're playing on the road versus playing at home, they come into game 3 thinking, think about what we just did last weekend against Ole Miss when we put 20 on the board. Why can't that be us again today? Yeah, we're playing the back-to-back defending champs, but this is our home turf. Let's defend it. And I also wanted to say too, Matt, Oklahoma had 2 on with their chance to score in their top half of the inning, and Arkansas able to wiggle out of it. Oklahoma didn't score any runs, gained momentum there, took it right into their bats with that one swing, capitalizing on the 2 runners on base.
Base is clear, 2 down for the freshman Ella McDowell, and she takes strike 1 after the visit to the rubber by Jen Rocha, the pitching coach for Oklahoma. McDowell has had a great start to her first season on campus, hitting above 350. Lines this into the gap in right center and tracked down by Hannah Cord to end the inning. But first home run of the season.
Of seeing each other, and they said that, but I think that they're so over talking about how many questions they've gotten about it this weekend and before entering the weekend. But it's a big story. Just don't one of the, biggest profiled names in the sport.
What a shot to right field. That is off the top of the wall by Gabby Garcia. And I wonder if that's going to be a home run because it hit over the white. And yes, home plate umpire Alex Leap says that is a solo shot.
Like right away, she wanted to challenge it and was communicating with Kaylee Wyckoff out in right field about what she saw.
Well, remember, Deifel's already used one of her challenges in this game on a runner stealing second base, called safe, challenged it, overturned it, and now she looks like she wants to use another here in the second inning.
Arkansas is challenging the call of home run. That play is under further review.
Wouldn't this be something by Courtney Deifel to go 2 for 2 in the first 2 innings?
I'm sure she's frustrated that I would think that's a ball in play.
The interesting thing is that Patty Gasso, Amanda, went straight to third base umpire Thomas Meyer after Garcia stopped at second base and was making this signal as if to say that's a home run, right? Out of play, home run. Taking a nice long time here to just make sure they get this right. For Oklahoma, it'd obviously be their first run of the game after they had 2 on and 2 out in the top of the first and could not score against the freshman Cam Harrison.
I'd be frustrated, though, if I was Courtney Deifel. More so, I mean, not necessarily challenging this one. I feel like this is a tough one. But that first one, the stolen base in the first inning, that was just, she was so blatantly out and she was called safe. To have to use your challenge on that one is a tough pill to swallow, that you're already in the top of the second.
After review, the call of home run is upheld. This is Arkansas's second challenge.
And look, in the whole scheme of things, Gabby Garcia answering back with a home run after Arkansas hit the 3-run home run is a big statement to her team. Freshman leading off this inning, they just gave up that 3-run bomb. She answers right back. Gabby Garcia is just a stud freshman.
She's now on a 12-game hit streak. And during that hit streak, homered in 5 straight games. First freshman to do that since Jocelyn Allo. Remember that name?
Sounds familiar, but I'll need to do a little bit more research.
In elite company. As she passes the bat to another elite player, particularly in the infield, Alana Agbayani. Transferring in as a shortstop from BYU and has moved over to second base. And it was interesting, we were chatting with Patty Gasso about that. Agbayani, a 2-year starter at BYU, Defensive Player of the Year in the West Coast Conference before BYU moved over to the Big 12. And we asked Patty, you know, how does Agbayani embrace that switch over to second base, which she had not played yet at the collegiate level? And Patty told us, I may be uncommon in this opinion, but I think second base is the most important position in softball. And the way Agbayani has played it this year, Amanda, has been nothing short of spectacular.
This infield is really spectacular for Oklahoma overall, and she's just one of those pieces with the range that she has and her speed and also a little bit of pop at the plate.
Upstairs, Agbayani held it back on the check up to third. Thomas Meyer said she did not go around, and that is the 3rd walk already in this game issued by Cam Harrison.
It looks like another timeout's going to be called. Double barrel action in the bullpen for Arkansas, and I think already we're going to have a pitching change.
I believe Reese Burline's going to come in here in the top of the second inning for the Razorbacks. Nope. It's going to be Lexi King coming out of the pen here in the second inning for Arkansas. We will step aside as she gets loose. Early hook for Harrison. Cam Harrison unable to get through the second inning against an Oklahoma team that has been incredibly patient at the plate all year. That has held up here in Game 3 of this series between top 15 foes. And now Lexi King comes in and tries to slam the door on Oklahoma in the top of the second.
Yeah, another freshman pitcher in the circle for Arkansas, and Lexi King going to give a much different look because she's going to be more drop ball heavy. So that is her pitch that she likes to use the most. So very different from Cam Harrison, who's more up in the zone. Drop ball pitcher comes in to face a home run hitter in Emmerling.
Has not yet pitched in this series for Arkansas.
Yeah, and it makes for an interesting Game 3 with the pitching decisions, because if the games would have been Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you kind of would just assume that Sam Landry would get the ball for Oklahoma on Friday and Sunday in Game 1 and Game 3, and Robin Heron would get the ball on Friday and Sunday as well. But with playing a doubleheader yesterday, both aces not only got the start, but came in relief. So pitched a lot yesterday in the doubleheader, and it's such a quick turnaround, Matt, with how late into the afternoon, kind of, what is it, about 7 p.m., 8 p.m. they finished last night, and then played a doubleheader, and then you go to sleep and wake up early in the next morning for this 11 a.m. local start time.
Emmerling to second base. The tag is there, and that is about as good of a play as you can have for King. Well, hang on a second. They're going to say the tag was not made on Agbayani, and only one out. Boy, that is a blunder. So now Hannah Core in the 9 spot with a runner in scoring position and only one out for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Well, and that's just what I was about to say. Oklahoma in these past few years, they're just so good at taking advantage of your mistakes on defense, whether it's a walk, a hit by pitch, an error, a missed opportunity for a double play like that. Now you're looking like you have to face the top of the order in this inning.
It is an offense that is like sharks in the water. Lasered into left field, down for a base hit and off the wall. Here comes Agbayani from second base. It's a 3-2 game on a one-out double by Hannah Core.
Oklahoma just continually, already Oklahoma back within one.
Both teams defensively came into the weekend top 5 in the country in fielding percentage. But as you alluded to, Amanda, over the first 2 games plus, Oklahoma's defense has shined. And their offense has taken advantage of maybe some miscues either in the circle or in the field for Arkansas. And now we're back to the top of the order as Abigail Dayton stands in, and still only one out with a tying run in scoring position.
And it's going to be up to Arkansas in this game to use that strong offense that they have to continue to put runs on the board and put pressure on Oklahoma's offense to keep up. I mean, we saw that Oklahoma could do that last weekend against South Carolina in their opening SEC weekend with a 10-9 scored, 10-9, and then 2-1.
And Dayton is pumped up, has reached base twice today, once hit by pitch. And now a one-out walk here in the second inning, and already four walks rather by this Arkansas staff, only 2 innings in. That's a great point you make, though, about these one-run games that Oklahoma has found themselves in. A little bit different than maybe we've seen from them in years past in the Big 12. They have dominated that conference. 24 Big 12 titles, leaving the Big 12 for the SEC this year.
Yeah.
And it's something that Patty Gasso referenced to us coming into this series, how exhausting that opening SEC series was against South Carolina. They don't look exhausted this weekend in Fayetteville, though, Amanda.
Well, and then they played Tulsa in a midweek game on the road, too. So going from that South Carolina series to an in-state matchup against Tulsa, who Patty Gasso always gives a lot of credit to and said they always play them really tough. So played them on Wednesday and then didn't go home, headed right to Arkansas to come here. So a long week for Oklahoma.
4 of Patty Gasso's World Series championships coming in the last 4 years. 2-2 count to first superstar in the 2 spot, Nellie McEnroe-Marinas, who flew out on a deep out in the first inning, just in front of the wall, down the line in left field. That is the go-ahead run at first base. And works the count full against Lexi King. Into left field, headed towards the wall, and it's gone. And the Sooners.
Reps paying off big to give Oklahoma the lead.
Her third 3-run homer in the first 2 SEC series, and again a pitching change for Courtney Deifel. Lexi King is out, Reese Berline is in. And Oklahoma, what a response after they left 2 on in the first inning, unable to capitalize on all the walks. They come back here in the second, and they played 5 so far and still threatening with only 1 down.
Yeah, it seems like a while ago, too, when it kind of got glazed over because we really talked more about the replay review than the swing and the moment itself. But Gabby Garcia leading off this inning and taking the first pitch, the first strike, I should say, that she liked in that at-bat for a home run was really what got Oklahoma to answer back in this inning. It's just a huge inning for Oklahoma with the 5 runs scored. But Gabby Garcia, the freshman, leading off this inning with a quick answer back and a quick punch back to lead to the rest.
How quickly Patty Gasso and JT Gasso's offense can change the game. And they're doing it against a team that we've done nothing but talk offense with regards to all year, and that's Arkansas. 16 of their 20 wins coming into this series by run rule. And yet it's the Oklahoma offense that has stolen the show so far in Game 3.
Miss Berline will enter this game, and her job is just to keep the score where it's at and get her team back into the dugout to hit again. You know, coming into this year, Patty Gasso had told, a bunch of people when talking about this offense, I think we're going to be more about speed, putting runners in motion. We might not have as much power as we did last year, but the numbers prove otherwise. Think about what they graduated, such a high percentage of so many offensive categories, but through 25 games, they've hit more home runs. And this is entering this game today at 2 to that number.
Which, to your point, actually surprised Patty Gasso. Walk drawn on 4 pitches by Ella Parker. Second base on balls drawn by her this afternoon. And passes the bat to Cassidy Pickering. Patty Gasso was quoted earlier in the year as saying, "We're not as powerful at the plate as we were last season." And then Michelle Smith, our ESPN colleague, said, "Hang on, coach, you've actually hit more home runs." And she said, "Really?"
Didn't believe her.
Pickering has already homered in the series. Coming off a monster freshman year. Was an All-American and an All-Tournament team at the Women's College World Series, starting 64 games in the outfield for the Sooners. Runner on 1 down, 2-1 count in the top of the second. And Pickering with a slow roller. Could be trouble for Arkansas, and Pickering beats out the toss by Davison at first.
If you're Reese Berline, you have to go get this ball. If you're going to make a couple of steps, still in motion.
How do you stop this train, Amanda, when it gets rolling, when you're in the circle?
throwing strikes, trusting your defense. I mean, you just have to be perfect. You have to execute the pitches that you execute in the bullpen day in and day out when you're not in game mode. And easier said than done because you feel the fans, you feel the intensity of Oklahoma's dugout. You see Patty Gasso coaching the third base coach's box. You just look up to this team because of the standard that they set in our sport, but you still have to do what you can control, and that's go out and execute pitches.
You mentioned the crowd. A lot of this crowd is wearing Oklahoma red. Norman is drivable to Fayetteville. And Courtney Deifel told us she expected this series to have a super regional vibe. It certainly has. Another near sellout game at Bogle Park for Game 3. Meanwhile, Sid Sanders is the 9th Sooner batter of the second inning and has a hitter's count at 3-1 with 2 on. And draws a walk to load the bases for Gabby Garcia, who started the inning with a home run to right field.
Just so many opportunities for outs, free passes in this inning. I mean, just think about it, Matt. You think about the 2 home runs that Oklahoma has hit, but so many walks, a missed opportunity for a double play, a missed ground ball to second base that Burline could have cut off for a potential out. You have to make those plays and make pitches against Oklahoma.
And the interesting thing about it all, you mentioned her defense at shortstop. That is what they expected from the freshman from Chandler, Arizona. What they did not expect, Amanda, was the tear offensively that she's been on to start her first season in Norman. Takes the 0-2 to shallow left. Coming on is Kramer. Cannot get there. Everybody is safe. And in to score from third is Ella Parker.
And there's still just 1 out.
Another lopsided inning for this Oklahoma Sooners offense. It's already the 11th time this year they've plated 5 or more runs. Second time in this series. Agbayani takes the 0-2 to first. Throw to home is in time by Bria Ellis. So they get the lead runner Pickering and avoid another run coming in for the Sooners, 2 down.
Well, and the big inning was what hurt Arkansas in the first game. Don't be fooled by that 7-0 win that Oklahoma had, or I should say the 7-0 score that you see from Game 1 yesterday. It was 1-0 through 6 innings. And then Oklahoma scored 6 in the 7th inning. So it was these big innings that you just have to try to stay away from and limit the damage.
3 runs is doable, though, for this Arkansas team. But if you're Reese Burline and the Razorback defense with the bases loaded and 2 outs, this is a must-have out. And it's quickly 0-2 on Isabella Emmerling.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Arkansas has just hit 1 time. That's it. Scored those 3 runs. So a lot of offense already in this game. 9 runs through not even 2 innings.
Emmerling incredibly dangerous at the plate. 8 of her 16 hits this year are home runs. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Burline pulled. Pitching change for Oklahoma. Peyton Monticelli comes in for the starter, Isabella Smith. Why now, Amanda Scarborough?
We've seen a lot of pitching changes already in this game. It's just the bottom of the second inning. And I think with Oklahoma capturing that lead after going down from the Courtney Day home run.
1 pitch, 1 out for Monticelli.
I think it's just Patty Gasso not wanting to let Arkansas have any form of life or deep breath to be able to get back into it, going into this inning thinking, all right, we had 3 runs off of Isabella Smith, the starter, we can do it again. Instead, they see a different face out there, totally keeps the momentum on Oklahoma's side.
Carly Davison in her first at bat of the afternoon. For a Razorback offense that was held very quiet in game 1, blanked in a 7-0 victory by Oklahoma. Then Courtney Deifel's offense came alive a little bit in game 2. They still left 8 runners aboard in game 2, 12 so far in the series coming into game 3. And now they're being tested after they jump out to an early lead as they did in game 2. Oklahoma counters. Now how do the Razorbacks respond here at home, down 2-0 in the series?
You just need base runners. Still a lot of time left in this game, but you got to keep chipping away now at the lead that Oklahoma has and answer back in some form or fashion.
Hitters count to the steady Carly Davison.
So didn't look like time was going to be granted, and I think the fans are upset, and Courtney Deifel thinking that should have been a pitch violation like their pitcher had earlier in the game. And these fans know their softball. They know what's going on. Courtney Deifel giving Alex Leap a little bit of what's on her mind right then. So I think that's maybe the frustration on the fans' part and Courtney Deifel's part of how that played out.
And
home runs too, of course, so creating their own luck, but a lot of little things going Oklahoma's way in the second inning.
Two quick outs by the second-year Wisconsin transfer Peyton Monticelli. And now a 1-1 count to the 9-hitter Kennedy Miller for Arkansas. Miller 0 for 5 in the series to this point. Coming into her sophomore year off a freshman All-American campaign, hitting .331 with 8 homers and 36 runs batted in. Takes strike 2.
We haven't even played 2 innings, and it's already been an hour into this game, by the way.
Up the middle for a 2-out single by Kennedy Miller. Her first time aboard. 5 infielders in for Reagan Johnson. Grounded out to Alana Agbayani in the first inning, who is typically the second baseman, but is shaded to playing basically short for Johnson. Johnson has provided a ton of stability at the top of the order this year for Courtney Deifel, one of the program's best. All-time leader in career batting average for the Razorbacks. Handcuffed to short, and again a quick throw by Agbayani, shifting over from second base, and that ends the inning. A 3-0 lead for the Sooners after 2 in Fayetteville. In spite, Amanda Scarborough, of everything they lost from their World Series winning team a year ago.
I mean, those are the numbers, but then you hear the names that they lost to go along with it. Tiare Jennings, Alyssa Brito, Jada Coleman, Riley Boone, Kinsey Hansen, Alina Torres. It's just on the offensive side of things. Not to mention they also lost Kelly Maxwell, Nicole May, and Carly Keeney from their pitching staff. So this is a totally different looking Oklahoma team. A lot of youth, not a ton of experience, but you would never know it with the way that they play.
Top of the third. Reese Berline, the third pitcher used by Arkansas in this game. First SEC Road Series for Oklahoma in their inaugural season in the conference. And it was interesting chatting with Patty Gasso before the game in the batting cages, wondering with all these newcomers, especially the young players, the freshmen that are being asked to play in big roles, how do they handle the SEC? Well, they've handled it by starting 5-0. This is launched to deep left field off the bat of Core, and it is caught in the gap in left center, one down.
She said that this team has passed my expectations, to be honest. I mean, if you didn't know and we didn't show you those numbers and you were just watching Oklahoma from one year to the next, you would think that it was a similar team. But this team does look different, too. They have different statures, and Patty Gasso talked about that, where in years past she would call a team meeting and look up to a lot of the players like Kinsey Hansen and Jada Coleman and Alyssa Brito. And this team, you know, they look different in terms of height and build, but their fight and the way that they find ways to win remains exactly the same.
Abigail Dayton scorched to second base, 2 down on the catch by Davison. You look at it too, 9 freshmen on the roster. Patty Gasso told us she can't remember a year in her tenure with that many freshmen. She's been doing it a long time, of course. And in spite of the youth, in spite of all they replaced, there hasn't been a tightness with this team, which she sort of expected. It's been more of a, yeah, we're reigning World Series champions. This is what we do. We're coming in here to extend the tradition.
They don't get too rattled, don't get nervous.
Good 1-2-3 inning here from Reese Berline. Arkansas needed it after giving up 6 runs to Oklahoma in the second. It's a 3-run game in Fayetteville as we head to the home half of the.
When they have family get-togethers and such, and she said, not really all that much.
If anyone brings it up, she said it's the younger son, DJ, in his second year as the hitting coach at Arkansas. And to add one more layer to it, Courtney Deifel was a grad assistant under Gasso back during the 08-09 season and remembers DJ growing up around the program. Now he's serving as her hitting coach. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Coach Gasso said, I never thought that they would both be softball coaches when they were growing up, but here we are. Called this weekend more of a celebration and a family reunion, that there's very few times in the month of March and April in the middle of season like this that they actually get to see each other and spend time with each other and spend time with the grandbabies, which she's so fond of.
1-2 count to Kramer, laced into the mid of Agbayani, 1 down.
And then I love this photo that you're about to see. I think this one takes the cake for me, and I'm sure DJ loves that this one got sent in. Him and his mom with the Dodgers. His mom, a big Dodgers fan, so fitting wearing the Dodgers uni there.
1 down for Kaylee Wyckoff. DJ was asked earlier this year by members of the local media, what's something that you took from your mom that you now apply as a coach? And he said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And he told a great story of when he was growing up and Patty was in the yard gardening at their house. That was a grind. Like, she was in the garden grinding all day. She loves the work. That is carried over to her 2 sons, JT and DJ, who both played collegiate baseball and are now coaching at a very, very high level in the SEC.
Yeah, how you are in one thing is how you are in everything.
Was that your motto, too, at A&M?
I didn't. I heard one of my good friends, Morgan Stewart, say that when I was coaching a clinic. I had never heard that. She played at Washington. Maybe heard that from Heather Tarr playing there, or maybe before that. I don't know. But that always stuck with me, and I feel like that's something that can apply not just to softball, but to life.
That's not good news for me. I got to step my game up in other places then.
Don't we all?
3-1 count to Wyckoff. By the way, new pitcher for Oklahoma is Kirsten Deal, and she issues a one-out walk to Wyckoff.
Mixing things up, Patty Gasso putting out a fresh face per inning at this rate. And Isabella Smith get the start, pitch inning number 1. Peyton Monticelli, pitch inning number 2. And now Kirsten Deal, the lefty. A lot of experience on this staff, enters here in the 3rd inning.
One of 2 returning arms from a staff that lost so much, as Amanda alluded to last inning, including Kelly Maxwell. Taking on Bree Ellis in the heart of this Razorback lineup. Tying run on deck in Courtney Day behind Ellis.
The score is just 6-3. Arkansas just down by 3 runs, but doesn't it feel like just so much more after that 6-run Oklahoma inning?
Season high for the Sooners in a single inning this year. And quickly 1-2 to Ellis.
That's what Kirsten Deal has done really well this year. Coming from the left-hand side, you know she has that curveball lefty spin, but really commanding the top and the bottom of the zone well this year with a little drop ball action there, and can move the ball up with the rise ball.
Ellis lifts this deep to center, headed towards the wall, and it is gone off the glove of Core in center field. And it's back to a 1-run game, the most in Division I. And has matched her season total from each of the last 2 years. Still a couple of months to go in the regular season. Back to a 1-run game. And again, I go back to all the pitching changes we've seen from Oklahoma. Peyton Monticelli had a really good inning in the 2nd. They opted to go to Kirsten Deal in the 3rd here. And Ellis takes advantage.
And I think we're going to see Sam Landry likely enter this game too, especially after that home run. I'm looking down in the bullpen, and I see her starting to do some arm circles, not with a ball yet, but getting loose. So she's actually right next to Isabella Smith, who is back out there in the bullpen, but getting loose.
A walk on 4 pitches to Courtney Day, and now the tying run is aboard for the Razorbacks in the bottom of the 3rd.
Look, you go back to it, Matt. You want to be the team that gives Oklahoma their first loss.
Yes.
I mean, just as a competitor, as a player, you understand that Oklahoma has not lost a game this year. You show up to the field on your home field. You want to be the one that puts a number in the loss column for the first time against Oklahoma, especially when you've played them so tight. Go back to that first game, a 1-run game through 6 innings, and then Oklahoma broke away, and then a close game in game 2. You feel like you're right there. That's how so many teams, including South Carolina last weekend, felt against Oklahoma. But you want to be the one that does it, that finishes it. Still a long way to go, just the 3rd inning.
Oklahoma has only lost twice to Arkansas. It was when Courtney Deifel was a grad assistant at Oklahoma under Patty Gasso. It's been a long time. Since 2009. And Arkansas, maybe even more importantly than that, Amanda, trying to salvage this series. Trailing 2-0 coming into game 3. They lost their first SEC series to Ole Miss. That maybe surprised some people. Courtney Deifel's team had only lost 1 game, remember, going into that series with Ole Miss. Got punched in the mouth. Rebels offense exploded in the first 2 games, and then Arkansas responded with a 20-3 victory in game 3. It's a big opportunity for the Razorbacks here in their 2nd SEC series.
Absolutely. Going into the series against Oklahoma with a 1-2 SEC record, and then you're having to face Oklahoma, and then they face Tennessee next weekend in Knoxville.
First meeting between these programs since 2018. Into right, and Pickering there for an out. The second of the third. Courtney Deifel told us it's probably the most highly anticipated home series, certainly in her tenure at Arkansas, maybe even beyond that, with the undefeated and four-peat national champ Oklahoma Sooners in town. And the vibes at Bogle Park all weekend have certainly added to it. We will chat with the reigning World Series champion head coach Patty Gasso next half inning here in Fayetteville. Talia Rio at the plate for Arkansas with the tying run at first. So much pop in this Razorback lineup, 1 through 9.
Yeah, statistically, both of these teams, especially offensively, are very similar, finding themselves in the top 10, top 20 in a lot of national offensive categories, and as well as their fielding percentage too, not just offense, but really great defensive teams.
Rio, a high pop-up right side. Agbayani there to put it away. And that
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Yeah, that's a big panic moment.
I won't say maybe they've been phased, but they don't show it. They just have really great response. Anytime somebody does something on us, they come back and return it. So they have that fire and that grit, and that they're not afraid of outcomes. They're just ready to go to work, go back to work.
All right, Coach, we've seen a different pitcher each inning. What can we expect the rest of the way in the circle for you?
I think KD's going to hold on as long as we can. Sam's there if we need her, but we're trying to make this a staff day today.
Awesome, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, man, when the four-peat World Series champ coach is doing an interview, you cannot start this game.
Well, yeah, and well, first of all, it just is a safety issue. She's on a headset while play is happening. She's like on the field, and she needs to be in her third base coach's box. Duh. Like, she has to be out there.
Probably catching some chatter
Yeah.
over there. Maybe from her son, JT.
She said coming into the weekend that DJ, this is her saying this, he will unfocus me. He does that. He's knows
right
how.
There.
Look, right
Top
there.
Top step of the dugout.
He's talking. Is he talking to her or just talking?
How fun is that for her, though? In her own dugout, first base line, her son JT. On the third base side, DJ.
It has to be so fun for her. She's just so proud.
Yeah.
You can tell she's proud of the coaches that they are, the men that they are, the fathers that they are.
Wow, that's a strike. Dealt by Reese Berline, her second strikeout. Passes the bat to Cassidy Pickering. Has reached twice today, including an infield single back in the second inning. Monster second inning for Oklahoma. All 6 runs coming in the second for the Sooners. This is roped up the middle and past the outstretched glove of Davison. And turning it into 2 is Pickering with a 1-out. Sid Sanders, in the words of her head coach, swinging more freely this year after feeling like she underachieved a little bit the last 2 seasons, which is a bit comical in its own right considering how well she played. A mile-high pop up to center. Pickering will stay put, 2 down.
It did go so high.
So now Gabby Garcia riding a 2-for-2 afternoon with 2 driven in, including a homer in the second. And a reminder reminder, we will chat with Courtney Deifel coming up next half inning. Her team climbing back into it with a great response in the bottom of the third, plating a pair of runs to draw within one.
Patty Gasso said of Gabby Garcia, she's very business oriented. Came in kind of nervous, had a mom who played college softball exceptionally well at Arizona State, and kind of felt like maybe the expectations of wanting to.
Oh yeah, her second home run of the game. Expectations, you say, Amanda Scarborough? No problem for the superstar freshman.
She may have come in nervous, but she sure has not played like it the first 2 months of the. He was in the right place at the right time.
Barehanded on a chilly day. You know that didn't feel too good. What a tear Gabby Garcia has been on, a 12-game hit streak. 2 homers in this game, 4 hits in the series, 5 runs batted in. And it doesn't matter where they put her in the lineup. She is hot.
Well, and just continuing to answer back. Both of her home runs have been an immediate response after Arkansas scored. Back in the top of the 6th inning, she was the one that led, top of the 2nd inning when they scored 6 runs. She led off the inning with a solo home run to get them right back in it. And that was after Arkansas put up a 3 spot. Now she does it again.
Mom Kara at home, probably very proud watching her daughter in her freshman season. Meanwhile, Agbayani aboard for the 3rd time today, including a pair of walks to extend the inning for Oklahoma. And Courtney Deifel out of the dugout for Arkansas. We may see another pitching change for the Razorbacks. And indeed we will. It'll be Peyton Burnham coming in for Reese Berline, and the 4th arm used today by Arkansas.
Peyton Burnham threw well as she got the start in game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday. Another freshman on this Arkansas staff. One comes right after another, but I thought that she threw exceptionally well. She ended up giving up those 4 earned runs, but to start out the game in particular, she just looked really sharp. See if she can find that again. 4th pitcher of the day for Arkansas.
And another freshman in the circle for Courtney Deifel. I mean, this is baptism by fire for her freshman hurlers, taking on Oklahoma, one of the top offenses in the country. And Amanda, you talked about it too, this mystique associated with the Oklahoma Sooners program, coming in not just 25-0 this year, but having won the last 4 Women's College World Series championships.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Deifel about how she's preparing, her pitching staff coming into this weekend, and she said it's easy to get caught up in Oklahoma's highlight reel, but it's important to remember that they still get out and swing at bad pitches. So it's just refocusing your pitchers, reframing them that despite them putting up these big offensive numbers in the national championships, remember they're still human and they still get out and swing at bad pitches, but they're very disciplined and very prepared, great barrel control.
Emmerling through the right side, and a 2-out base hit for the Oklahoma catcher.
You're talking about these close games, Matt, that Oklahoma has had to start out their inaugural SEC season. And I went back and looked at the first 5 games of their Big 12 season last year. They won on average by a margin of 10.5 runs in those first 5 games. Their first 5 games of SEC play, been just 2.4 runs. That's how close these games have been.
Riding a 3-run lead here in this game, thanks to the second circle for Oklahoma is Kirsten Deal. And you heard last half inning Patty Gasso say we're going to ride with KD as long as we can. May see some Sam Landry, who pitched twice yesterday in the doubleheader. Deal, of course, giving up 2 runs in her first inning of work last inning and a first pitch strike to Carly Davison to start the 4th.
There's been a lot of long games these first 2 weekends in SEC play. Oklahoma's game against South Carolina last weekend, game 1 of their doubleheader. They played back-to-back weekends with doubleheaders. I think it was 3.5 hours long. But then game 2 of the doubleheader was like an hour and 20 minutes. So life has a funny way of balancing itself out. Just another reminder of that. But also I think both teams were just so spent for that final game that running on fumes. Huge weekend though for Oklahoma at home to those 3 one-run wins.
Fly ball to center field off the bat of Davison, 1 down on the catch by Hannah Kaur. For Oklahoma, trying to start 6-0 in their inaugural season in the SEC. For a team that was not picked to win the conference. And how many times could you say that about Patty Gasso's teams in recent years playing in the Big 12? Not many. And, you know, she was talking about their schedule over the next few weekends with us before the game. She said, man, this SEC thing is a different bear.
I mean, we've said it time and time again, and even before Texas and Oklahoma entered the conference, every weekend feels like a super regional with the level of competition, with the crowds who attend, with the intensity of every pitch.
This could find the grass. No, it's a diving catch in center field by Hannah Kaur, robbing a base hit of Kennedy Miller. 2 down in the 4th.
Already this season, Patty Gasso said that Hannah Kaur has saved games for us in center field because of her range and her ability to make plays like this. Doing it offensively as well.
So the base is empty. 2 down. 3rd time up today for Reagan Johnson. Pair of groundouts to Agbayani. Texas and Florida picked ahead of the reigning national champion Oklahoma Sooners in the SEC. Of course, Arkansas has won a couple of regular season championships in the last 5 years. First 2 in program history, both coming under Courtney Deifel. What she has built has been incredibly impressive considering where this program was when she took over a decade ago.
Yeah, getting the fan support, and you have to win to get this kind of crowd. I mean, let's just be honest. Nobody wants to show up to a game week in, week out, 3,000, 4,000 deep if you're not thinking that your team.
Conversation about Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC this year, Amanda. Texas going down to Gainesville and winning the first 2 games of that series with Florida.
A highly anticipated matchup between those 2 teams, and Texas swinging the bat so well. Tiki Kavan started 1 game, closed another, came in relief in another. A&M took the first 2 against Auburn. We'll play them later again today. And I will see too, LSU is looking really good. It's just there's so many good teams to talk about in this conference that it's easy to maybe not talk about one of the good teams as much because you have Oklahoma and Texas and Florida who are ranked the highest, but LSU are.
Pull.
Kenny Simmons for Texas yesterday almost had 3 home runs.
Oh, off the glove at second of Davison and cannot turn to make the play at first. And Abigail Dayton is aboard for the 3rd time today.
So she hit home runs in back-to-back at-bats, and then I think came up and the next at-bat after that, and Kendra Falby robbed her home run in center field. Kendra Falby, one of the best center fielders in the country, Gold Glove winner.
Yes.
Just continues to do it as a senior.
Nellie McEnroe Marinas has homered already in this game. 3 3-run homers for McEnroe Marinas through the first 2 series of SEC play. Had a pair of them in the same game against South Carolina. Watch out for this one, and it just tails foul at the base of the wall.
She's just so clutch, and how can you not just love her swing?
What do you like about her swing, Amanda?
How quick she is. Yeah. I mean, she's just so strong, too.
An RBI double by McEnroe Marinas.
So think about that for a second. The pitch before, she crossed.
Cassidy Pickering doubled in her last at bat. Well, now if you're Arkansas, you got to be careful here with the run rule looming for this Oklahoma Sooners offense. Shani Helton comes in to pinch run at first base for Parker. First time we've seen Helton today. Already a 2-hit day for Cassidy Pickering, who, in the words of her head coach, is just a pure and natural hitter. You could say that about a lot of the players in the Oklahoma lineup. Needed that quick out in foul territory, caught by McDowell, 1 down.
Just go back to, Matt, that they're so good at taking advantage of mistakes, whether that's a walk, a hit by pitch, an error, a bad defensive decision that doesn't go down as an error. You never see it in the box score, but they see it and they just really push forward even harder. It kind of makes the other team feel even worse about it. I mean, it completely takes away your confidence, and that's what makes you feel like in the circle and on defense, you have to be perfect. Because they do capitalize on those mistakes. You see it. You watch them play in the World Series and SEC Series and the Big 12 last year, wherever it is. That's what they do. That's how they play. They don't care about the opponent. That is their style of play, and they put so much pressure on the opponent.
Freshman Peyton Burnham with a 1-1 count. Heard her coach last half inning when we interviewed Courtney Deifel say she wanted to see more competition in the zone, not just from Burton, but from her entire staff. Anticipating that we'd see more pitchers at some point in this game. Another pop-up left side. This time off the glove of the catcher, Miller, but we'll get it down to second base to catch Shani Helton. 2 down.
And I know you get an out there, but I'm not feeling great about that play if I'm Arkansas on defense. It just sends a message that we're not playing as sharp as we need to be playing on defense.
And now what do you do with Gabby Garcia here? Has reached base all 3 times she's come to the plate, including a pair of home runs. go right after her, apparently. 0-1 from Burnham. That tracks with the MO of the freshman Peyton Burnham. Courtney Deifel told us she wants to go at everyone, and sometimes will leave it fat and has to learn a tough lesson, but she'd rather have that from a freshman than being timid going up against the top hitters in the country. And quickly has a 1-2 count to Garcia.
Robin Heron is getting loose in the bullpen, the ace of the staff for Arkansas, who started game 1, came in relief of game 2, both of those games being played yesterday in the doubleheader, but would love to have started her in game 3 when you're trying not to get swept, right? But because you played the doubleheader, you had to mix up how you used your pitching staff yesterday in order to try to get through the doubleheader, and then that led us to today in game 3, where we haven't seen both aces up to this point. And Sam Landry and Heron.
Just foul off the bat of Garcia. This will be a big out here for Burnham. Keep this a 5-run game going into the bottom of the 5th. And she gets a swing and a miss. Now the throw has to be completed from Miller, and not in time. Might have pulled Ellis off the bag as well. So the inning continues for Oklahoma.
It's just so defeating. I don't know any other way. It's crushing.
Patty Gasso's going to make a change here. Another pinch runner will come in. Sydney Barker will pinch run for Sanders at second. And now Alana Agbayani at the plate with 2 on and 2 down. Drives it into center field, and it's caught on the run by Reagan Johnson to end the inning. Arkansas down 5 as we head to the home half of the 5th. Pop up to the left side and caught at short by Gabby Garcia, 1 down.
And I feel like with the way that Nellie McEnroe Marinas plays and how much we have to say her name, and it is a mouthful. It's a tricky one to say, but maybe she just goes by one name and we just, call her Nellie, like Madonna or something. I mean, she's playing like she deserves, just kind of that one name. Beautiful long name. It's a tongue twister. Yeah.
Kobe. People know who you're talking about.
I know Nellie now. There she is. Let's watch her play defense, too. We have not gotten to see Oklahoma's infield have a lot of ground balls hit their way, to be honest. In the first 2 games, their infield flying all over the field, making plays left and right. Saw Hannah Core make that diving play in center field, but a lot of new faces on the infield. We talked about the offense lost, but on the defensive side of things, a whole different look. And even now with Sydney Barker going in at first base in replacement of Sydney Sanders, another new face on the infield.
This is lined into left field, headed towards the wall, and it hops over the top of the wall for a ground rule double by Kaylee Wyckoff.
Wait, I really thought that was going to be out to keep our theme going with at least a home run.
That's speaking of home runs, last time up for Bree Ellis, a 2-run shot for her 14th home run of the season to lead the nation.
Bird almost threw 5 innings in this game.
The greatest home run hitter in the history of the Arkansas Razorback program. Of course, began her career at Auburn, hit a lot of those home runs there for the Tigers, but has continued it now in her career at Arkansas. And here comes Jen Rocha out of the dugout for Oklahoma. Activity in their bullpen. So it looks for now like Kirsten Deal will remain in the game. And another dangerous hitter at the plate here, Amanda, with Courtney Day, who has also homered this afternoon.
Yeah, which is why Jen Rocha, one of the best pitching coaches in the country, goes out to talk to Kirsten Deal and Bella Emerlane and talk about approaching her and being careful here, knowing that Courtney Day is another home run hitter hitting behind Bri Ellis.
Finally seeing some home runs in this series from both teams. Had a couple yesterday from Oklahoma. Two teams that rank in the top 25 in homers. Of course, Oklahoma top 5 in that category. But Arkansas no slouch of their own, particularly in this ballpark where it flies. The 1-0 to Courtney Day. Laser down the right field line and foul. It's funny, we were looking up the elevation of Bogle Park. It is one of the highest elevated SEC parks in the country at a whopping 1,300 feet above sea level.
I was a little winded walking up the stairs, and it's because of that elevation. You know, that's what I like to tell myself. But they're plugging in Sydney Barker, another freshman over at first base, and just to give even better fielding defensive first baseman and replacement of Sydney Sanders. She's great, catches a lot of tough throws over at first base, but Sydney Barker, who is a freshman that you can just tell they're trying to find ways to get into the everyday lineup and giving her a ton of opportunities because of the way that she swings the bat. Came in as a shortstop, but we've seen her play right field and first base now too.
3-2 count now to Courtney Day. The Texas transfer in her final season of college softball. Launches this to center field. Tracking it is Core at the wall, and she makes it crashing into the wall, 2 down.
Hannah Core had to stick with that because, again, the wind is blowing from left to right. So that looked like it was going to go to dead center field. Instead, while it was in the air for so long, it pushes it to right center field, and she really had to stick with it. Looks like after that good swing off of Kirsten Deal, we might have a pitching change. We'll see if Sam Landry comes into this game, the ace.
Well, you heard from both coaches. It was going to be a staff day for Oklahoma and Arkansas, coming off a doubleheader on Saturday. And we will see Sam Landry, who got the complete game shutout victory in game 1, going the distance in a 7-inning, 7-0 win, then came back in game 2 to close the door on Arkansas.
I think that Sam Landry has looked absolutely electric in her first year at Oklahoma, transferring from Louisiana, where she had a solid career, but the way that she has looked this year has just, she's hit another level. Whatever the level is above where she was and the level like above that, that's
opponent of the season so far. Had some nice wins over Baylor and San Diego State, Cal State Fullerton. None as big as Arkansas, particularly on the road. I'd say she's handled it pretty well.
I think she has stepped up in a big way. Pitched a little bit in the midweek against Tulsa after missing some games due to an injury. So she was out for, I don't know, about 10 to 14 days, somewhere in there, and showed up in the midweek game. And then has pitched in every game of the series this weekend.
We'll take on Ella McDowell here, the starting third baseman for Arkansas. 2 down and the bases clear in a 3-run game in the bottom of the 5th. Razorbacks plating 2 on the 2-run homer by Bri Ellis.
And when you look at her numbers too, based off of what she did last year at Louisiana, she's getting more chases with her rise ball and drop and changeup by 15 to 30% more. Hitters are chasing those pitches, and more swings and misses. Swings and misses on her drop ball is up by 30%.
You mentioned Jen Rocha being one of the best pitching coaches in the country. Sam Landry talked about the fact that Jen Rocha was a big reason why she ended up at Oklahoma when she intended to stay at Louisiana. But a late coaching change, she hops in the portal and has added another level to her game. Missing inside on a 4-pitch walk to Ella McDowell. So the inning continues for Arkansas.
And I feel like this could be a little bit of a challenge for her, pitching so much yesterday after a little bit of time off. And two, you're going up against different quality of competition than what they faced in the non-conference. Important to point out, Oklahoma, in terms of their strength of schedule for non-conference opponents this year, is 233 ranked out of just over 300 Division I teams. So played a bit of a quote-unquote softer non-conference schedule, knowing that Patty Gasso was going to have a lot of new faces, a lot of youth wanting to travel to mid-major programs to help out their programs, get some attendance records and bring in some revenue and money. There were different reasons for it, but the bottom line is when you look at the numbers, they played a soft non-conference schedule. And so that's why everybody has been tuned in last weekend to South Carolina and this weekend on the road here in Arkansas, because they're playing the best competition now in SEC play, and still, despite that soft non-conference schedule, finding ways to win and shine.
5 straight walks to start Landry's appearance out of the pen. The 1-0 to Rio. 5 straight balls, I beg your pardon. Comes back with a strike after the visit to the circle by Emmerling. And now quickly 1-2.
Such good velocity, very good spin, movement, deception, especially with the pitch calling from Jen Rocha, using her tools to the highest potential.
She was a proven winner in 3 seasons at Louisiana, led the Ragin' Cajuns in wins in all 3 seasons on campus, and was top 10 in the nation last year with 24. Pitching on the biggest of stages now in the SEC.
Just using her drop balls so much more. Last year, that was a pitch that she just used about 19% of the time. This year, using it close to 30% of the time, and just the result of that pitch even better with more chases, more swings and misses, sets up her other pitches so well.
2-2 to Rio with McDowell at first. And a strike.
Making some noise in the Big Ten.
Whoa. Isabella Emmerling coming in and making some noise with her bat. Quick trigger by the 8-hitter Emmerling, who's already driven in 1 today on an RBI single in the 5th. And if you're just joining us, Oklahoma put up a 6 spot in the 2nd and has played a 2 in each of the last 2 innings, maintaining a 3-run lead. Sooners the only undefeated team left in Division I, looking for their 2nd straight sweep to start SEC play after taking down South Carolina in 3 one-run victories last weekend.
Just kind of seems like Oklahoma does whatever they need to do to win games. If they need to score, or if the other team scores 9, okay, we'll score 10. The other team scores 1, okay, we'll score 2. They just find different ways to win and can play in any type of ball game.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Burnham, Tia Malloy pinch hitting for Hannah Core in the 9 spot for Oklahoma. Freshman from Woodinville, Washington. Would you call that winner's intuition? Just doing whatever needs to be done to get the victory?
Yeah, I like that. Did you come up with that, or is that a thing that I just don't know about?
Maybe a little both.
I like that.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. Emmerling and Malloy. The order for the Sooners. Abigail Dayton digs in. Dayton, the Utah transfer, replacing Jada Coleman in center field, the 4-time World Series champ and 2024 Big 12 Player of the Year. So many winners leaving this program in the offseason due to graduation, and they just replaced them with more winners. Abigail Dayton won a lot at Utah, where she played 2 seasons and was an All-American last year. Rolls it to the right side. On the run and making the play is Davison in a 1-2-3 inning for Peyton Burnham. Arkansas with a chance to cut into the deficit more. Down 3. They have a rubber match today.
I'm excited about all those games that
Me
I
too.
just saw. As a softball fan, to get to call some, to get to watch some.
That's just over the next 2 weeks, Scarborough. We still got another month and a half to go after
Oh my
that.
goodness, the schedule is just so good.
There are few leagues in the world in any sport where every single weekend you can be excited about numerous matchups because everyone's ranked, everyone's a contender to host a regional.
South Carolina is a really good team too. You know, what a bit of a surprise to see them with the first-year head coach, new coaching staff, hopping into the top 10. They played Oklahoma so tight, didn't have a win to show for it in Norman, but gosh, they were right there. And then unfortunately for them, lost 3 against Oklahoma, lost their midweek to College of Charleston, and then lost game 1 against Georgia, so lost 5 in a row. Surprisingly, that's a really good South Carolina team. They were picked to finish last in the SEC preseason, and right now sitting in the top 10 in the top 25 rankings.
Well, Ashley Chastain, as you mentioned, coming over to South Carolina from Charlotte after leading the 49ers to their first conference tournament championship in the American. Meanwhile, a strikeout by Landry, and that's back-to-back since coming into the game out of the bullpen.
Expanding the zone with her rise ball, getting Davison to chase well out of the zone. Sam Landry, just the next transfer pitcher for Oklahoma, especially since we had that shortened 2020 season. Since we came back, it's just been one after another that have been a part of national championship winning teams, from G. Juarez kind of starting the trend. Hope Trotwine had a great season, came and pitched from North Texas to Oklahoma. And the list just goes on and on. Was recently with Kelly Maxwell, the All-American, the lefty, pitching for a year for Oklahoma last season.
0-2 to Kennedy Miller.
But what it seems like happens is that they transfer to Oklahoma and work with Jen Rocha, especially as of late, and they just level up. They get even better, and they already come into the program with a lot of tools, and Jen Rocha just seems to make them even better. All the time spent in the bullpen, plus her pitch calling on top of that, and of course, you have to execute like
3
that.
straight strikeouts by the Louisiana transfer Sam Landry. Reagan Johnson, hitless in this game, comes to the plate with 2 down in the bottom of the 6th. Playing with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder this season, left off the preseason All-SEC list after she was first-team All-League a year ago. Down in the count 0-2. Landry, as we start the 7th, Oklahoma with a 3-run lead, trying to close the door on their second series sweep of SEC play. Fly ball shallow right center, and back on it, Davison, 1 down. Peyton Burnham's done a nice job of stemming the tide for Arkansas in the circle. The freshman is the 4th arm used today by Courtney Deifel and has been probably the most steady for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one of my takeaways is how she's pitched against this lineup. Really great moments yesterday and today too.
She has not allowed a home run in this game, which is as big a feat as any with the amount that we've had.
Yeah, she's done a good job keeping the ball down and the way that she's changing speeds. It's the one thing I think against this Oklahoma offense that's been very effective when Robin Heron and Peyton Burnham have been able to change speeds. They've looked a little bit susceptible to that at times.
Two 2-1 count to Ella Parker. Has walked twice, singled, and driven in a run. Came into the weekend top 10 in the country in batting average, hitting .525 after a monster series against South Carolina. 2-2.
It would have on a day with no wind. You will travel to Columbia, Missouri again next weekend. So back-to-back road series for the Sooners. Cold here today. I wonder what it's going to be like in Missouri next weekend.
Hopefully, for everyone's sake, a tad bit warmer.
You just got to bring layers because you
No,
just never
next time
know
I
what
will.
it.
I don't know what weather report I was looking at, but it wasn't for here.
I didn't expect you to take that so personally.
I was ill-prepared. Hitters count to Pickering. And a walk to extend the inning.
Arkansas will be exactly where they want to be in their lineup when they come back out at the bottom of the 7th inning to see if they can get back into this game, maybe tie it up, maybe walk off. Never know, but 2, 3, and 4 coming up for Arkansas in the bottom of the 7th.
Sydney Barker's first at bat of the game. Came in to pinch run and then a defensive replacement over at first base for Sydney Sanders a couple of innings ago.
Sydney Barker is a prime example that if you can swing the bat, a coach will try to find a spot in the lineup for you. And that's what Patty Gasso has liked about Sydney is how great her at-bats have been. Put her in right field. She was a shortstop when she came into the program. Playing her at first base, just trying to find a way to get her into the lineup as much as possible in an already deep, talented roster at OU. And that's why it's so good to be a versatile player, right? Not
A spitfire competitor, in the words of Courtney Deifel. 2-2 count with 2 down. Gets it to short, and the tap of the second base bag will keep it a 3-run deficit. The undefeated Oklahoma Sooners, 25-0 and 5-0 in league play. Sam Landry back in the circle and picks up right where she left off with a strike. Has retired 4 consecutive batters by way of strikeouts since entering this game back in the 5th. Taking on Reagan Kramer here, the starting left fielder for Arkansas.
I feel like if Sam Landry is able to finish out this game, it's just going to give her a ton of confidence moving forward. Her first SEC series, because she missed that South Carolina series, so she was just itching to get back out there, probably a little bit nervous to pitch in her first SEC series, and she's gotten to pitch in every game.
And has struck out 5 in a row in her Game 3 appearance. 1 down for Kaylee Wyckoff. Landry has been nearly untouchable in this series. Now 10 2/3 scoreless innings pitched, and has made an appearance in each of the 3 games here in Fayetteville. How do you attack her here, Amanda, given the fact that she has just been dicing up the zone since she entered this game?
You just have to be able to sit on one speed first and foremost, because she'll bring in that changeup and not get caught in between speeds.
Wyckoff makes contact, and a bobbled play at second base, not in time from Agbayani. The first miscue in the field in Game 3 for Oklahoma, and the first runner aboard for Arkansas against Sam Landry.
Oklahoma is challenging the play at first base. The call in the field is safe. That play is under further review.
I thought just watching it live that she was out, but there was a slight bobble, couldn't get a grip on the ball. I think she's out, yeah. Maybe though is her foot on, yeah, it is on the base, I think. Yeah, I think she's out. Let's see here. Oh, going to be hard. First base coach already calling safe, blocks our camera view from that angle, so he can't get a good look.
To overturn the call.
I think I need to see it a couple more times. So, already ready.
After review, the call in the field is changed. The runner is out. This is Oklahoma's first challenge.
Patty Gasso left both challenges to the 7th inning, and that proves incredibly wise there.
Yeah, I thought she looked out when the play was live. Pretty quick review there.
Agbayani wipes away the miscue. 2 down, and now Bree Ellis rips it down the line, and yes, the first base knock of the day for Arkansas against Sam Landry to extend the game.
Has to feel good for Bree Ellis. She went 0 for 3 against Sam.
Courtney Day at the plate has also homered this afternoon.
It was interesting after the game, or after both games, I should say, of the doubleheader. Bree Ellis got asked about hitting off of Sam Landry, and she said her hard stuff is really hard, and her slow stuff is really slow. And when she catches us in between speed, she's going to beat us. So that one getting on time, expecting something more firm early in the count. She gets it. And Courtney Day, same thing, a good swing to start off this AB.
Arkansas trying to avoid losing their first 2 SEC series since 2016. Dropped the first series 2-1 to Ole Miss. And down 2-0 here to Oklahoma.
One of the things that stuck out to me about the way that Landry threw yesterday was just constantly working from ahead. 0-2 or 1-2 counts. both in her complete game start and then in her relief appearance. Getting the call there to get back into a 1-2 count again. Of the 32 hitters that she faced yesterday, 26 of them she found herself in a 1-2 or 0-2 count, or got them out on the third pitch before even getting to that count.
1-2 to Courtney Day. Just got enough to keep the game going.
And that is just locking in and pure command of a situation. As a pitcher, if you're constantly finding yourself in a pitcher's count, 0-2, 1-2, you feel like you are in complete control of what you throw next and can easily gather up a lot of strikeouts when you have stuff like her.